Like and subscribe now, or you're gonna have bad luck this week.
You may not have seen all of the world, but now that you have technology at your disposal, you can check any place on Earth on your phone, sitting anywhere in the world, using Google Maps. Some places even have a street view to enhance your experience, but technology is controlled by the people who own it. So, it's natural to think that they can show you what they want you to see, and vice versa. Just like that, Google has censored some really secret places on Google Maps, so people don't go lurking around. Let's look at a list of the top 10 places Google Earth is hiding from us. Number 1 will definitely shock you. Number 10. A random patch of the Pacific Northwest. The site is located close to the Washington-Oregon border. However, no one even knows what it is. Some people claim it's another HAARP site. HAARP is the High Frequency Active Paranormal Research Program, which is used to study the properties and behavior of the ionosphere, while others say it's FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Some people have managed to venture here to see what's going on. They most likely wanted to at least see it at a marked entries that would indicate the facility located there, but they didn't find anything worth of interest. But we still don't know why this place would be blurred out by Google. It makes this place even more mysterious. Could it be that we are hiding something there, which we don't want anyone to find out? But we are sure that something mysterious is located there, and that the government has censored it. We cannot forget about any possibility. Number 9. Valencia City, Philippines. Another example of a whole region being wiped out from viewership. Valencia City is a city located in the province of Boknin in the Philippines that is populated by over 190,000 people. It's one of the largest and most populated cities in the province, and even has several tourist sites. But if you want to find it on Google Earth, even if you're a tourist, you won't be able to do so. You don't have to be living in the country to be censored from the viewership. The whole city is blurred out. Supposedly, it was done because Valencia City is their governmental headquarters, where it's used for testing of missiles and working on defense programs. If that's true, we can understand why they would blur the entire city out on Google Earth. They're for security reasons, of course. It is strange, but hey, we've seen the whole country that is blurred on this list. Number 8. Area 51. We are sure that most of you have heard about Area 51. If not, what century are you living in? It's a highly classified area of the US military base in Nevada. For decades, people have speculated that this facility is used by the government to experiment on aliens that have crashed to Earth and deconstruct their spaceship technology. You might not buy into these conspiracy theories, and for good reason. There's never been any factual evidence backing it up. However, Google Maps does blur the area out so people can't see it, which probably adds to the conspiracy theorists' speculation. So who'd like to start the next raid? Number 7. Babylon, Iraq. Google Maps has a habit of blurring out whole regions so people cannot have a satellite view of the place. Babylon, Iraq is just another example of a whole city being blurred out and made invisible. Babylon is a heavily populated city, but you won't see any of it if you're examining it from Google Maps. Blurring this city out is in fact rather disrespectful, because there is much history behind the area. It used to be the ancient city of Babylon that was very powerful in the 2nd millennium BC. At some point it was turned into a vast empire that stretched out over most of Western Asia. But, like all other empires, it was eventually destroyed. Given this rich historical background, it is strange that the city remaining after the empire is hidden. Maybe it's the government of America that doesn't want people lurking at the state of Iraq, as we know the type of relationship the USA has with Iraq. Some people say it could be because somehow connected with the operations led by Saddam Hussein, but we can't tell for sure. All we know is that this historical tourist attraction site can be hiding something. Number 6. The Royal Palace, Amsterdam. The Royal Palace in Amsterdam is hidden from the world on Google Maps too. Even Buckingham Palace can be seen on Google Earth. We know that kings have their quirks and sometimes they do things others don't understand. So it is one of those such things, or is there something we don't know? If you have any suggestions, let us know. One thing that is really interesting about the place is that all the areas surrounding the palace can clearly be seen, but the palace itself is heavily blurred. The reason behind it, no one really knows, but we can just assume that something fishy is going on in there perhaps. Is it because the royal family wants to maintain their safety and doesn't want anyone to plan an aerial attack on their house? Maybe they don't want anyone finding out about the infrastructure of the palace, so that no one goes in and makes another palace just like that. Number 5. The entirety of North Korea. We all know a lot of things that are wrong with North Korea, ranging from the authoritarian regime to no internet available for the people. North Korea is one hell of a country, and to think that South Korea is one of the most prosperous countries in the world makes what's going on in North Korea even more mind-blowing. A lot of the simplest human rights are violated there, and residents aren't even allowed to leave the country. Those who want to come to North Korea face many challenges, as it's often not permitted. It's also rumored that the government brainwashes its residents and makes them think that they live in a perfect state. One of the craziest things about the country is that it's been censored from Google Maps completely. You cannot have any type of view of the country from Google Maps. Their government is behind all of this. The Shazlmumbata oil refinery, Hungary. Now usually, there isn't a huge industry anywhere in the world. You can easily see its infrastructure and what goes on using Google Maps. But this isn't the case with this oil refinery. An oil refinery in Hungary asked Google Earth to completely wipe out all of the buildings and grounds in and around the area and mark them as green. So if you're looking on a map for this refinery in Google Earth, all you'll see is a very large green field. There are no pipelines, storage tanks, or production facilities, almost as if there is no oil refinery there. And what makes it even stranger is these blocks on the field, what do they mean? The reason for the blur in this area is still unknown. Evidently, they wanted to hide or protect something from the outside viewer. But the question is, what exactly? What is so unusual there that makes them different from every other oil refinery in the world? Number 3. The HAARP site, Gokana, Alaska, USA. We've already told you guys about the HAARP, but let us tell you a little about the project. It was funded by the US Navy and US Air Forces. This program itself aims to analyze the ionosphere and study the ways to improve radio communication and surveillance technologies. If you think that these guys are doing good things, conspiracy theorists will say that they're wrong. Many people around the globe think that HAARP is responsible for weaponizing weather and triggering floods, earthquakes, droughts, and other unwanted natural disasters. Yes, you've heard that right. Most likely, part of the reason stems from the theories that appear that HAARP sites are highly classified, and it makes people think, what do they want to hide from us? Of course, the HAARP staff denies their allegations, but what are they hiding there that they have to place a censor on? And their answer? So no one goes on a trip there. That's not convincing enough. Google has kept a lot of secrets from us, but this really is one of the bigger ones there is. Number 2. The Gazprom CEO House, Russia. This place is one of the very few houses that have been blurred and hidden on Google Maps. This is the house of Gazprom CEO Alexei Miller in Moscow, Russia. It appears to be blurred on Google Earth for a very simple reason. Miller asked Google to blur it out for him. If you think that you need to be really powerful and rich to do it, then you are wrong. Anyone can do it. All you have to do is provide the location to Google and have your house blurred. But not everyone will want to do that, because what do we have to hide? I mean, why would you blur your house on Google Earth if you aren't afraid that someone will see something they're not supposed to see? But Miller is a millionaire and one of the richest people in Russia, so maybe he did it for his own safety. Russia is known to be completely secretive and has a personal life that can be compared to North Korea. But we know for sure that something fishy is going on in this house. Anyone want to go in and find out? Number 1. Sandy Island. This is the most mysterious island there is. Because our maps were constantly updated with input from explorers and cartographers, it wasn't uncommon for an unknown piece of land to show up on them. While it was an error most of the time, on occasion, maps do contain things we have no idea existed. Take the Sandy Island in the Pacific Ocean, which showed up on some maps but not others. In reality, there's nothing there and has since been removed by Google Maps. It's not entirely in error though, as this island has been showing up on maps since at least the 1876. It was first recorded by a whaling ship called Velocity, and we still have no idea what it is that they saw. Interesting thing is that it's not blurred, it has just been completely wiped out of the records of Google Maps. Can the government be behind this? We might never know what's going on there. Can you explain the reason behind censoring of these places? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.